represents a connected sequence of entities and functions that create value-enhancing products at the lowest possible cost. So some of you may remember or know the theory from Michael Porter, who coined the term value chain for an organization and an interrelated sequence of entities that are associated with the organization, including the suppliers, including parts of the customer, where a product is produced and moved and created, and enhanced in value and finally delivered to the customer. So he kind of like referred to that entire stream as a value chain, as a set of interconnected processes that actually add value at every point in time. Okay? So value chains need to be effective and efficient, and we know this, right? Because we look at supply chains, and supply chains mainly are tasked with a goal of high customer service levels. And I would assume that most of you working in the supply chain would have in one of your MBOs or goals customer service as one of the key metrics, right? So if this is not a key metric, then you have to wonder what is the key metric for supply chain. Obviously there are other metrics available as well. The lower cost to serve is the other metric, where you would look at manufacturing costs, you would look at inventory costs, and you would say, I want to run this efficiently, right? So really these are trade-offs basically. So you could be effective, so which means you are delivering a higher customer service, measured as fill rates, what have you. Or you could be, and you want to be efficient. It's not either or. You want to be efficient, which means, you want inventory dollars to be lower to attain the same cost to serve. And you want, you also are seeking manufacturing cost efficiency as well. So you are looking at lower costs per unit. So, and those are in some sense contradictory goals as well, because lower cost per unit could be achieved by running large lots and large batch sizes, since your cost per unit goes down. But on the other hand, if you're running large batches, then your inventories would actually go up. So those are kind of contradictory as well. And so this is where it is important to kind of achieve a balance, right? So balance costs and values and derive an optimal region to operate your organizational value chain. So this kind of a trade-off needs to be made, and this is one area where I have seen companies struggle a little bit in terms of designing their overall scorecard and incentive processes, because sometimes they could come up with unrealistic targets without really thinking that these are conflicting and these cannot be achieved. I have seen companies that say, we want to have inventories maybe 4 or 5 days on hand, maybe 1 to 2 weeks on hand, what have you, but you also want to achieve customer service levels of 99%, right? And this is possible if certain other conditions are met. But if it is not met, then you have other issues, right? There's such type of a situation where you have very little inventory, or what do you call as a cash-to-cash cycle, a cash-to-cash cycle that actually is very compressed or in fact negative, right? So which means you don't really have any cost to serve at all. With a high customer service, that is possible in some cases. Like, for example, if you take Dell Computer Corporation, right, and they have, at least it's said to be that they have a negative cash-to-cash cycle, so which means they don't carry any inventory, and they actually get parts on credit from their suppliers, but their customers always pay ahead of time, right? Especially the online customers, they pay ahead of time and wait for the computer. So which essentially means their working capital is in some sense, or theoretically it's negative. I have looked at the Dell balance sheet, it's actually not negative. So theoretically it's negative, right? Their model, at least for the online business, it's negative. So which means, maybe this is kind of a golden example where you can hit a high customer service and you actually are, very low cost to serve, right? But regardless, you have to look at your business model and your business circumstances when you design these scorecards and metrics processes and the incentive that goes along with it.